Well, hello, and welcome, everybody. We're so excited to have you here today. Thank you for joining us again for another side hustle success story. I'm always excited to just bring you different folks who are doing it, right? So, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I'm a coach and a strategist, and I love helping corporate professionals, find those side hustles, right? So, the days are gone when we can just rely on one source of income. Now you have to almost absolutely have another stream of income, and a side hustle is a great way to do that. And for those of you who may not have ever considered a side hustle, I just thought it'd be great to bring on guests who are doing it, who are doing a full-time role and also doing a side hustle. So, before I jump in, I always just like to share, a little bit about what's going on in the current environment. Again, I've come from career coaching to business coaching, and I can tell you that without question, in the last 12 months, the number one thing people talk about, okay, I have not had one client not say to me, "Oh, I want to work from home. I want remote." And so everybody wants that, or everybody's looking for an additional source of income. So that is the way the world is moving. And so we're here to just kind of give you some benefits, show you kind of how it works. You may have had some questions around, well, how do you manage that with time and money? How do you actually find out what's a good idea? Hopefully, in these interviews, you will get a little bit of a taste of that and be willing to be ready to make that jump yourself. So I'm excited. I have Jennifer Benson here today. And again, she is coming on to talk to us about her side hustle. So I'm going to just jump right in and start asking some questions. And please make sure you drop your questions in the chat. We're happy to take some questions as they come up, but we'll jump right into the interview for Jennifer. So Jennifer, thank you and welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, I think the number one question that I really like to start out with is if you could just give us maybe just a little bit of background and tell us, in a minute or less, kind of what your full-time role is, kind of like, how you got into that. And then what was the catalyst? Was there a certain thing that actually prompted you to start thinking about perhaps doing a side hustle?
So I'm an insurance agent. I do that full time. Been doing that for 20 years. I used to work at a brokerage firm as a compliance officer, was laid off, unfortunately, and then just fell into insurance. So finance is my thing, apparently.
Okay.
And then the side hustle, I have two, and we're just going to focus on the one that we're the virtual assistant. In my networking group, someone made a comment that she's basically going to close down her business because she got a big whale of a client. So her and I were chit-chatting, and I purchased her business. This is something I just want to run. I don't want to do.
Gotcha.
So my goal is to get lots of clients and start hiring people, and then just manage.
That's awesome. Well, and that opens up just a whole nother avenue because there may be some folks on here that's saying, okay, wow, so you don't actually even have to start a side hustle. There's the opportunity to maybe purchase. Maybe tell us a little bit about kind of, your decision to purchase as opposed to starting your own. And then, yeah, love to kind of hear about, like I said, for those who might be thinking, well, virtual assistant seems like something that I might be interested in, like kind of what is it you're looking for in those, as you're looking to run that business, like what kind of folks are you looking for? Because again, like I said, folks are on here for a variety of reasons to kind of understand how to get started, to understand what it looks like. So if you want to share any of those details, that would be fantastic.
So with the virtual assistant job, she was basically just going to close it down. So it's not a franchise or anything. And I thought it'd be a lot easier just to pick up her branding.
Right.
I mean, she's been doing this for like 2 or 3 years. So she's branded, she's got her CRM set up. I mean, it's just basically me just taking over the current clients if they want to stay, or the other ones, and pick up the new ones that she had in the hopper. So that's
pretty straightforward.
It just happened to things like that never happened to me. Like that was perfect. Stars were aligned and everything.
Yeah.
So now the type of clientele I'm working with right now are mainly real estate agents and coaches, actually, just to be their quick assistant, like to do this, to do that, do a spreadsheet, whatever. It's easy work. And I sit outside in the evening and I just hang out, watch the kids do what they do, and I work on my laptop. It's nice. So yeah.
No,
in my free time, in between the coaching the soccer coaching, the golf.
Right.
I mean, luckily, and it's just setting parameters with the clients and letting them know I need a deadline. With the day job, it's harder to do.
Right.
I need this done right now. I can't do that, but that would be great if I could find those people that would be
Right.
able to do the right now stuff, and then this would be their job.
Okay. Well, I think you said one thing that you said I think is going to stand out to a lot of people. You said, this is pretty easy work. I mean, not all side hustles, it just depends, I think, on kind of the skill set, obviously. But to be able to
Mhm.
sit outside in between soccer games, in between, running errands and things like that. I mean, I think without question, that's what people are looking for. They're looking for that location independent lifestyle where you literally can go anywhere and do it. And like I said, funds are coming in while you're working, but
Mhm.
you're meshing your work with your lifestyle. So yeah, talk to us a little bit about that lifestyle of being able to go. Obviously, like I said, because you work full time, it
Mhm.
can't be completely open. But talk to us a little bit how you mesh those two and make it work so that it flows and ebbs with your life, the life you already have going.
Fine. Yeah, that's a great question, and I think just do it. I'm like, if we're sitting, like I said, if it's after dinner, we're sitting outside. I just plan an hour to work, and we
Mhm.
watch, like I said, watch the kids play. It's nice. It's easier work than my day job.
Right.
So it's, I don't have to, I can do a spreadsheet pretty quickly, data entry. It's not like I have to run quotes and shop insurance. So it's a lot, it's a different mindset. So it's kind of almost like therapeutic sometimes.
Okay. Now, like I said, I love having these conversations because these are the types of things that I like to bring out. We're no one's looking for a second job. Like I said,
Mhm.
another grind where they're having to trade all this extra time, for a few extra dollars. People are looking for something that is going to mesh with their lifestyle.
Mhm.
That's going to be relatively easy. And I love the word that you just used there. You said it can sometimes even be therapeutic. That's huge. And so, just to kind of share with people that is the whole point of the side hustles in my mind. Like I said, if people are looking for gigs, there's what they call the gig economy out there, where yeah, you can go Uber drive, you can do Lyft, you can do DoorDash. That's the gig
Mhm.
economy, but you're still trading a lot of your time, for in order to get those dollars. What most people are looking for is something that's going to really flow in with their life. So actually, we got a question here. Michael said, I'm looking to do a VA business myself. Would this business be willing to train new VAs to the industry? I'm really wanting to get my feet wet. And so I guess the question is, as you're looking to hire people, maybe talk a little bit about kind of what you're looking for, because as you're looking to bring folks on board, I am sure there are folks who really want to know, well, what are the ins and outs? What does it take? What are the requirements to actually have this type of a business? So if you could talk a little bit about that, that'd be great, Jennifer.
Sure. And I'm still learning it too, since I literally just started this 2 months ago. So I'm kind of
Okay.
learning as I go.
Okay.
But the nice thing is there's apps that we can use. So I don't have their passwords. So it's like, the client can download stuff into this program where
Okay.
then connects me to his Gmail account and sends me spreadsheets and do whatever. So it's about what the client needs,
Gotcha.
and interviewing the client to make sure it's a good fit. So if it's not a good fit for me, let's say I did have some VAs, some helpers, some team players, and that might be a better fit for personality wise, and it
Yeah.
might also be a better fit for what they can do. Like, I don't know anything about QuickBooks, but
Yeah.
maybe somebody else does and they need the QuickBook help. So it just kind of depends on, and if no one on my team can do it,
Mhm.
I have another referral partner that I can send VA referrals to also.
Okay. So again, I love how you're just kind of setting this all up. So, like I said, no, no, like I said, people need to know, they need to understand there are so many nuances. Nothing is cut in stone. There's so many ways that you can do it. So first of all, you had an opportunity to buy a business that was already branded, already out there in the market. So
Mhm.
again, you didn't have to do like the startup, from
I
scratch.
would have never done it otherwise.
So yeah, and so that's important to understand, because everybody, maybe they don't feel like, hey, starting from scratch, that's a whole different business. Now I'll just throw this out here, a shameless plug, for my business. That's exactly what I do. I actually help people who have no idea where to start figure out where to start, like exactly from idea all the way through to making money. So that is what I do. So if there are folks out there, who are saying, yeah, I would absolutely love to do something like that, but I just honestly have no way to start, and there would be no way for me to get started unless I had help. I just want to let you know that that is something that I offer. So kind of back to what you were sharing, you know, you had it set up, so then you came in, but now you're still in the learning process. But again, to your point, if a client comes in and they need something that you maybe don't necessarily have, you have referral partners. I think that that's a huge thing to
Mhm.
understand in this business, is that as we're out here building these businesses, it really is about being connected to the community, being connected to other business owners, so that you can kind of pass the love around, and there's everybody, everybody's on board with that. They can pass a few referrals your way, you can pass them their way. Can you maybe talk about your referrals and how you're able to secure those referrals in order to make sure your clients are being taken care of?
So I belong to a it's called H7.
Perfect.
And there's BNI out. There's a lot of programs. There's, depending on what state you live in and where you're located, there's all kinds of referral groups that you go to. You meet once a week. You get to, it's about building relationships, and they're not your best friend. Some of them, some become your best friend or a really good friend that you go out with. But I mean, they're people you trust, and work with, and refer people who need help. Whether it's be my clients, my friends, anybody that, it's just connection. Or if they don't know somebody, or maybe they might know somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah.
It's the way it works.
Yep. And so, I mean, that's another thing I was just going to say is, that's the beautiful thing that I really actually love about this business world, is that there are so many opportunities to build relationship. Networking is something that's never going away. I like to tell people, listen, I don't care what happens in the world, even if we have to take a break from in-person, as we did over the last couple of years, networking is never going away. And for those of us who are not who are not independently wealthy, right, to where we can just, the money's just there and we can ride out, a wave of some kind, your network is really going to be how you're going to build your business. Going to be how you're going to grow your business. It's going to be how you're going to take care of your clients. And so I'm really glad you brought that up. That's a really good point to kind of think through. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the mindset piece of, a side hustle, because again, a lot of times when people think about this, they're like, okay, what does it actually take? If people have been working in maybe a job their entire life and never really had an opportunity to do something outside of that, kind of what does it take mentally to kind of step out, even like I said, with the fact that you had a little bit of a boost in the sense that you didn't have to start it from scratch. What would you say is the mental, kind of the mindset you need to really step out and do this thing?
I mean, well, first you have to mentally prepare that it's going to take time. Yeah. I mean, I had to open a bank account. I had to go to the bank. I had to do, there's all those steps. So you have to make sure that you have the time to do something. I had to go to the AT&T store to get the phone transferred. So it's mentally preparing that it is going to take time out of your schedule to do stuff. And you have to have that time. So that part is key. And then just doing it. I mean, I want to make money. I want to retire. I'm almost 50. I mean, I want to retire. And so I'm looking at this as that avenue to help me retire. So that's my motivation, is just to pay off bills and build up the nest egg, so to speak. Right. And then, I mean, and it's fun. Like I said, sometimes if I'm just sitting around watching TV, I might as well do something that I'm gonna get paid for.
That's true. I mean, that's absolutely true. And I'm so glad you said that, because I mean, why not? Why not be making money while you're doing that?
Right. Well, I did my time too. I've worked 2 jobs up until for, I don't know how many years, 10, 12 years when, after you get out of college.
Yep.
Worked the weird hours, did all that stuff. I'm like, I don't want to work at Kohl's. I mean, if I had to, I would go to, Kohl's or a Lowe's or whatever and do that. But why when I can do it from home?
That's exactly right. And so, and I'm glad you brought that up again, because again, we know that the term side hustle may be relatively new, but second jobs is absolutely nothing new. I mean, used to be in the day that, you could go out and get a fast food second job, or, a retail second job. And a lot of people did that, in order to supplement. And so they were wearing themselves out. I mean, I came from a family where they worked 2 and 3 jobs at a time. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's not a life. But no, what we're talking about is something that, to your point, it's something that integrates with your life so well that, like I said, it really it's a source of income, but you're leveraging time, you're leveraging TV time, right? Or, downtime at the kids' games, to be able to kind of get some stuff done or whatever that looks like. But you're leveraging your time. You're really condensing your time and being able to do more in the time that you have while also getting paid. So I love that you brought that up. And the other thing that you brought up that I think is really important to kind of point out is having a goal attached to your side hustle. It's really important. So even if it's just, trying to retire and build up that nest egg, or, sometimes people have like long-term goals. Like I know somebody who wanted to go to Hawaii. And so they wanted to work a side, some type of side hustle in order to build up that money. That really determines the type of side hustle you go about. Because maybe you maybe you don't mind doing, Lyft and Uber and DoorDash and some of these other things if your goal is short term. But if your goal is more long term, you really want to stretch this out, then again, you really do want to find something that is going to mesh with your life. So I love that you brought up that having a goal really does, it makes it, I want to say easier. I mean, it helps you push past the
Tangible. It's a
hard stuff.
tangible goal. It's a
Mhm.
tangible goal. So it makes it, yeah, it makes it easier. Like, this is what I want to do. Or I
Yep.
want to pay, we have a pool. I want to pay off the pool. I want to pay off my car, you know.
Yep, perfect, perfect, awesome. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about, you already talked a little bit. You kind of been weaving it in. When you talk about what do you find most fulfilling about your side hustle, I'd love to hear if you want to add anything to this. You've already said to some degree it's therapeutic, it can be fun. What else do you find to be a benefit to having the side hustle?
I'm meeting more people actually. So
Okay.
yeah, and I can connect more people. Um, but the few people that I'm working with, one's already in one. I already know one personally, but I mean, like I met another coach, so I'm learning about what he does. So when I run into somebody that says I need this kind of coach, I mean, I know a lot of coaches, but they all do a specialty.
Yep.
So it's nice to be able to say, okay, well, I actually know somebody that can do that.
I love
It's
that.
just opening up the network more, and I
Yep.
mean, that's nice. And I like, and I just think it's fun. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Just
don't mind
gratitude.
doing it. It's not like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do it. I
Right.
mean, and if I don't want to do it today, I don't have to do it today
That's
unless I
true.
have a deadline. But usually I try to mentally plan, okay, he needs this done by Friday. What does my week look like?
Right.
So I enjoy it.
That is awesome. And like I said, that's the whole goal. Like I said, when I came out 5 years ago, I actually started my side hustle while I was working my full-time job as well. And I like to tell people, listen, you want to get excited when you think about, the side hustle you're going to do. You want to get excited about it. Be like, oh yeah, that's actually fun. It's definitely, you shouldn't feel drained and dread and all that. Listen, enough people have that particular circumstance in a full-time job. You're certainly not trying to take it, into another work situation. So I think that that's key, something that you can honestly say, I find that it's fun, even though there may be stressful times associated with it. I do find it fun. I do find it, I like it. It's helping me do this other thing. You mentioned networking. Again, I love, again, anything that helps you build out your network. You never know, when you're going to be able to add value to somebody, to your point, or when they're going to be able to add value to you based on what you know. So that's always a plus. So that's fantastic. And then the hardest thing, if there is a hard thing, because it seems like even though you've been doing it for 2 months, for the most part, it seems to be flowing pretty well for you. If there was a hardest thing about having a side hustle, what would you say that is?
Um, I mean, right now this one's pretty smooth. I do have my other side hustle though. It does take up more time.
Gotcha.
So it's getting that mentally prepared, because I just made some cornhole boards for somebody. They
Oh,
have the
nice.
bolts, and I can make boards, but I ordered them from Home Depot because I didn't
Gotcha.
want to make them.
Okay.
It's too much work. I'll just buy it from them. But it does take a lot of time because I'm waiting for paint to dry, and it's a 2-week process. So that one's a little bit more tedious, and
Okay.
it does take more time, and you got to make sure the lines are perfect. I mean, that's an artsy fartsy thing. I don't know. It's very two different worlds. So it's nice to have both of them to bounce off when I'm done
Mhm.
with this one. It's just too complicated
Yeah.
today.
No,
Then I'll do that. I'll do a spreadsheet today. And then no, I don't want to do the spreadsheet. I'll do
I'll do
paint a
something
sign or
different.
something.
Oh my goodness. You have really opened up a real can here, because honestly, this is why I absolutely love side hustles. We all come here with like all of these skills, right? So we have a ton of skills. And when you get into a full-time job, typically you use maybe one or two. If you're really lucky, you might get to use maybe a third skill, but you're primarily being hired to do this one thing at a
Mm-hmm.
full-time job. I love the fact, and you just kind of shared that seems to be your case as well, that you can actually you can use multiple skills with a side hustle. So you now have your creative side where you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, the creative things that you do. And then you also have, like I said, this VA thing that you get to do. And so can you talk to us a little bit about the variety, or even just your ability to create? Like, do you feel like your ability to create and think of ideas related to side hustles and making money has been expanded since you started this process? And, just, yeah, talk to us a little bit about how those all work together.
Cool. That's a tough one. um, so I mean, it's just nice to be able to use both sides of my brain, basically.
Yes,
It sounds silly, but I mean, I use a create someone, I
doesn't
have to
sound
make some
silly.
shirts for somebody. So the design's already done because I've done a couple of things for her. So it'll be, I can go outside the box for one job. And the other one is just a different mentality, just,
Yeah.
but one job requires me, the other hustle I have to be in a room. I have to be in a specific room. I can't be sitting outside
Right.
because I'm painting or
Right.
I'm working on a shirt or I'm confined to this area. Whereas the other job, I can go sit outside. I can go sit somewhere
Yeah.
else. So get all kinds of variety. So it's kind of nice to change things up. And then my day job, I'm not even here. I'm at my office.
Right.
So I don't know if I answered your question. So I
No,
will.
that answered it because again, I think, like I said, the one thing that I noted when I was on the career side, the one thing that I noted, the people that I was most interested in helping, because I'm like that too, is people who are both analytical and creative. I think we all have both analytical sides, or sides that are a little bit more practical, a little bit more kind of hard skill focused, and then we have these skills that are creative. And most people are just like, how do I find a job that combines all of this? And the fact of the matter is that that's almost impossible. I mean, I don't like to say anything's impossible, but it is hard to find a job that combines all of your skills or allows you to use a wide breadth of the skills that you have. And so it's so nice to be able to, have, your full-time job with all those benefits. But then on the outside, now you can kind of, like I said, use those skills, those other skills, creative skills, and actually get paid for it. I tell people the days when people say to you, oh, you're going to be a starving artist, those days are over, because literally I know people who have Etsy businesses where all they do is draw and they're making like six figures.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact of the matter is now we live in a world where it's very, very different. There has never been a time, I don't think, in the history of the world where it's really easy to really go out and find something that you can do and actually get paid for because of the internet, because of everything that's associated with the internet. So I'm glad you brought that up, because for those of you who are out there who thinking, yeah, I have all these things that I want to do, I have all these ideas, you actually have a way to do them. You actually have a way to really tap into them once you get one started. It is a little addictive. All my friends that are now in business say, well, once you start on one side hustle and that thing's up and going and it's flowing, then your mind's always thinking about different ways. Oh, I could probably make, a little money over here, a little money over here. It's like the brain comes alive with all these ideas. Would you
And I
agree?
like money. I like to make money, and I have no problem working the jobs to earn that money. So
Absolutely. I don't think anybody has a problem with, making a little extra money. So that's
exactly, and not having to go anywhere. That's
and not having to go anywhere. I
Mhm.
think that's the key. Like I said, making it work within your lifestyle, integrated within your lifestyle. All right. Well, the last couple things that I wanted to ask is, obviously the family piece comes into play. And it works different for different people.
Mhm.
The fact that you're at home, I think, makes a huge difference. But talk a little bit about the family side of things and how the family side of things plays in with you having your full-time role and also your side hustle.
So in the morning, I work out 2 days a week. I'll
Mhm.
go to Orange Theory, and then so those 2 days I normally don't work. I won't work in the morning, but
Okay.
I'm waiting for the bus to show up. So I'm like, my kids playing on TikTok or doing whatever. But while we're waiting, I'm partially dressed and ready to go. So I might as well work, right? So
Yep.
if I have some artsy fartsy stuff to do, I'll do that. If I have to check someone's email and start working on a spreadsheet, I just do that while I'm killing time, because what else am I going to do? I don't want
Yeah.
to clean.
When I'm right, right.
I want to do that.
What's
Oh, thank
cleaning
you.
gonna pay? Yeah, that's right.
That doesn't pay me anything.
That's right. I mean, but that's important to note. I mean, I've worked with some top coaches who are saying, "Listen, I charge." This is what they said. They said, "I charge $25,000 an hour to work with me. So for me to go out and mow my grass for an hour, it doesn't make sense financially. You can spend that little bit of money and pay somebody, but once you start making this money, you do understand that honestly, those hours they can be spent some other way. So I love that. And it looks like Michael had another question about, do you ever feel like your work, side hustle, and life balance is out of whack? So have you ever, and I know, like I said, you're just getting started a little bit here, Jennifer, but do you ever feel like it's been out of whack? And if so, what are some strategies you've used to get it back on track?
So with the VA, no, not yet. It hasn't. I am not overwhelmed because I can
Okay.
control how many clients I have on and
Yes.
what clients I take and
Yep.
everything like that. So until I get people bringing in, my other job though gets busy on the holidays. So that does get a little stressful for me. And I try to say no. I even overprice stuff and sometimes they still take it. I'm like,
No, that's a
stop.
that's a strategy though. I'm glad you said that.
I mean, and they still want, and I'm like, okay, or I have to charge you. You need this tomorrow. I have to charge you an extra $25 because you want it tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's not what it's a 2-week turnaround. So and during the holidays, it does get a little crazy, and I just do it. I'm a doer. I just get it done.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
don't, I
no.
can't explain it, but when I have having that extra time in the morning, or
Uh-huh.
I won't work out, I'll give up a workout to
Okay.
get, if I have a deadline. I mean, there's something of mine will give, but it won't be the family. It'd be the workout.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. But this is another thing you brought out. Again, I just love side hustles. I just love having these conversations. You basically said that you can opt, even though it hasn't gotten to that point yet. You understand you can actually opt not to take clients. So,
Mhm.
Michael, if as you're thinking about this side hustle, the point is it's yours. Nobody's telling you what to do. You don't have a quota that's being pushed down to you from somebody. Okay, it's yours. And so, if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, you can just literally stop taking clients. I mean, I've done that where I'm just like, oh, yep, I'm going to go travel with family. So that's what we're going to do. Everything's saved up. I feel pretty good. We're going to take a month off. We're going to go do that. That is the whole point of having the business. And then you also said you can charge more for the things that you don't love, you don't like to do, so
Or
that
don't have time to do.
or you don't have time to do. That's right. So if somebody actually takes you up on it, it's you got a nice piece of change for that. So you were willing to maybe flex and get it done because you're like, okay, this is actually going to set me ahead of schedule, right? So it can be worth it if you charge more for the things that you really don't want to do. So again, Michael, you want to keep in mind that there's a whole different mindset associated with doing this type of work. I mean, you really have to put on your ownership mindset hat. It's not, the employee mindset hat is typically waiting for permission or, waiting for somebody to give them, directives. Whereas the side hustle is, okay, if this is infringing on my family time, then something else is going to have to give, or I'm going to have to,
Mhm.
maybe take one less client or something like that. But that is the joy of side hustles. Like I said, we all have our seasons when you have to get in there and maybe grind a little bit to kind of get something done so that you can do what you want to do on the back end. But the fact of the matter is, you are the owner. You are the owner of that side hustle. So that makes a difference.
It's
Nice.
yeah, you can pick and choose what you want if you don't want to work. Unfortunately, with my other job for VA, I have a referral program.
Right.
I have another person I can refer people to,
So
so
that's
that's
perfect.
nice. But the other job, I don't. I don't know anybody who does what I do like
Yeah.
well enough to refer.
Yeah.
So it's either I do it or I just say no. So depending on the
Yeah.
complexity of it, sometimes I have to say no because I can't do it,
Because you can't do it. Yeah. Yeah.
or I just I don't have the time.
Yeah. And I'll say this is the other thing, with that, probably the more you build your network, you're probably going to, now that you're in that business, the more you start telling people about it, now you're going to
Mhm.
start building up a network for that other business. Or the other thing that I like to share with people is you can train people. There may be some people out there who are like, oh my God, I would absolutely love to be able to, maybe do it like you do it now online. And this is primarily who I work with, people who want to coach, train, create books, online courses, and things like that. That whole market is absolutely blowing up. You literally can create a course for anything and get sales on it. So, it's the truth. I
Oh, I
mean,
know.
if I have told you some of the things that I have seen that people created courses for, and I'm like, I've never even heard, I never even knew that type of thing existed, but it exists and people buy. And so, as that's the beauty of a side hustle is that, if there is something that you're finding it doesn't scale well, the way to scale it is with books, courses, trainings, teaching other people how to do it so that
Mhm.
maybe you can get more income, another stream coming in there. So that's definitely that's an excellent one. Perfect. Well, and last question then, Jennifer, last question. The number one piece of advice you would give to someone, again, and I like to take from the perspective of someone who's never done anything outside of corporate. Corporate has been their life, but they now they see the writing on the wall. They know they need to get, something or start considering something, or maybe they just, they really do want to use this other maybe they've only used their analytical side at work and they really want to use their creative side at work and they really want something to do. What would be your number one piece of advice that you would give to someone who is maybe in that particular season and really wanting to step out and do a side hustle?
Um, that's funny because I obviously clearly just dove into both of mine, so I didn't even. I was just like, hey, let's just start this. Um, oh, repeat the question for me so I can make sure I.
Absolutely. So for the person who's maybe been in a corporate role their
Mhm.
entire life, never done a side hustle for sure, and is only recently starting to think about doing a side hustle. But again, there's some fear around
Mhm.
what that looks like, how they might get started. As you consider just your experience and the route that you took, the journey that you took, what would be the number one piece of advice that you would give to that person to help them maybe make that decision that yes, this is right for me or no?
I would research whatever. I would research it, make sure
Yep.
it's the right decision for you. Because honestly, if let's say being a virtual assistant isn't the right thing, or
Mhm.
whatever side hustle you can think of, I mean, if it becomes too complicated and not fun, then that was the wrong hustle,
Right.
right? So you want to make sure that it's going to fit your schedule, and it's going to
Yeah.
fit what you want done. Now, with my other job, I didn't, we just started. Now we have like 1,300 people on our Facebook page. I get referrals from corporations and stuff like
That's
that.
awesome.
And it's just built up over time, and you need to network too. So if
Yes.
you're going to create a side hustle, you got to research to make it sure it's going to fit. And then you want to make sure you're going to network, because how else are you going to get noticed?
Yep. And I'm going to put that in the chat. Number one advice I'm going to say is research and network. And I 100% agree with that because, again, you got to know people, and people have to know what you offer in order to make, in order to get the word out. And then the research, I think, is key. Now, the one thing that I'll add to what Jennifer said is that research is important too, because when you're in your 9 to 5, that's when you can experiment, right? So let's just say, for instance, you thought, hey, I want to try VA, and then you got in and you're like, it just doesn't feel right. I don't feel like this is the exact match for me. You still have your 9 to 5. So it's not like you're relying on that one. You can now go try something different. But I
Right.
think the beauty of being in your 9 to 5 and really thinking about a side hustle is you can try several different things, and find the ones, again, that excite you, energize you. Again, they feel fun. I like to hear words like fun, therapeutic. I feel passionate about it. When you start feeling those words and those are the emotions that come up for you, then you've hit a home run. And like I said, you can now start that process, and little by little, you may decide you either want to move full time into it. Everybody doesn't do that, but you may find additional side hustles that you want to do based on your goals. But everybody's goals are different. The point is that, this is going to give you options. I'm a person who just feels like you need to have multiple options and not just one.
Right,
So,
I agree. And like, I love my day job. I mean, I enjoy it. I've obviously been doing it for
yes,
20 years, but I just like something. We'll just bring in some extra money, get the
yeah,
artsy fartsy creative stuff going, meet
yeah.
new people. Mine's more, I have no intention of obviously quitting unless I won the lottery, but let's be real. That's not going to happen.
Right. But no, I think that that's important to say, because we're not telling people that, only people that, if you hate, your job, then obviously you want to be exploring other things,
Right.
obviously, and that might be a combination of a new job plus a side hustle. But most people actually really enjoy their job, but they just feel like, hey, I've got so much more to offer. I want to exercise this particular side of me, or I want to stack up some extra money because, we got this coming up, or I want to save for retirement. People have a lot of different reasons for why they want to do it. The point is, you can absolutely love your job and still, find that a side hustle really complements your lifestyle really well. At the end of the day, I always like to say is it's about options. You don't ever want to rely on one option. You said at the beginning of the interview, Jennifer, that the job that you were working for, you got laid off. Now, things like layoffs, you just can't sometimes even anticipate them. Sometimes you can see them coming. Most times we can't. And so my thing with, getting the word out about side hustles is that, life happens. Things happen in the world that we absolutely have no control over. That's going to always happen. And so you just always want to have options. And I think you would be pleasantly surprised about, how a side hustle can just add extra joy. Not, obviously income, but it can actually add extra joy into your life. So I always like to share that for sure.
It's because cleaning the house is not therapeutic. So
For some people, it's funny.
I know
It's
sometimes
amazing.
cleaning out a junk drawer is fun, but
But for you and me, yeah, no, that's not what we would consider therapy. But there are some people who would absolutely love to do that. They come in, they get, they build businesses on it, and hey, more power to. There's something for everybody. That's the beauty of a side hustle, right? Is there is literally something for everybody.
Oh yeah, and like I said, like I don't like therapy for me is, like I said, is doing the side hustles. If I can avoid cleaning my house, which I'm just using that as an example. My car's, we're cleaning out the garage and, just those everyday mom chores. It's nice to have something just different than being that.
That's exactly right. And this is the beauty of it too. Listen, when you hire somebody to come in and do that, or even hire your kids. I mean, I hired my
That's a good
kids.
idea.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, you want to make some extra money. When it's like everybody's happy, right? You're supporting your local community. You're
Hmm.
giving your kids some money in their pocket. So listen, you don't have to do those things that you hate because there's somebody who would do it. And I mean,
Hmm.
whatever you're paying, 50 or $100, whatever it is, it's money well spent because you didn't have to do it and the job
Exactly.
got done. So life is sweet when you kind of can think about things along those lines. That is fantastic. Nice. Well, Jennifer, I definitely wanted to give you a space to just kind of talk a little bit about. Well, you can actually pick. I know that we feature kind of the VA business, but
Hmm.
honestly, whichever business you'd like to just kind of chat a little bit about, and tell folks, whichever one you want to promote, definitely pick one and go ahead and tell folks where they can find you and a little bit about it. And yeah, this will go out across YouTube, Facebook, and
Oh, wow.
LinkedIn. So you're going to be all over the place here.
Okay, there you go. Um, well, we've kind of focused on the two other side jobs, but the job that pays the bills and that I do enjoy, I do enjoy it too, is insurance. So I'm an insurance agent. I've been doing it for 20 years at least. So I'm at Ashland Haddon Insurance in Noblesville, Indiana. We're licensed in 48 states. Which is an independent agency. I love helping. I actually enjoy making sure people's stuff, your assets are protected, and making sure that just making sure you're insured properly or not either underinsured, overinsured, making sure it's correct, and then building that relationship with people and just helping them. That's it. I mean, Ashland Haddon Insurance. Like I said, I'm in Noblesville. Jennifer at Ashland Haddon Insurance. You can
Okay.
Google me. You'll find me. I'm pretty easy to
Okay.
find. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well,
no, I just love helping people. So in all three ways, all three jobs, I am in some way helping people. Whether
yeah,
a shirt, someone wants to buy a shirt for their dad, custom shirt or whatever for a friend, or and then helping somebody who wants to grow their business. So I want to help them grow and succeed with
yeah.
the VA, and then just protecting people in the event of an accident or some kind of catastrophic event for their house or something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, helping people, that's what we're in the business for doing. I mean, it's why I'm here as well. And so, feel free, Jennifer, you can drop your details there in the chat for people to grab, or, when you find it on social media, whichever one you want, you can certainly drop it on the chat. And I'm also going to just go ahead and drop in the chat. I do a webinar about 3 times a week, just kind of talking about what does it take to start a side hustle. So if you ever want to just sign up for that, I'm dropping the link in there, and I think it actually cut it off. So I'll
Oh,
probably,
got it. Yep.
yeah, I'll probably repost it there in a little bit. But for folks who might just want to know what does it take to actually start that side hustle because you've never gotten started and you're actually scared about what that means, come on into a webinar and we're going to do a live Q&A and kind of go over some of the basics. Minimum viable product is all what we're looking for, but I'm here to take you from ideation all the way to making the cash. So that's my goal for those of you who may be out there in the corporate world who want to take a step out. So again, Jennifer, thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming on and sharing your insights. A ton of great insights around side hustle. I love that you love what you do, because that's like I said, that's been my experience, and I want to share with people that there are so many benefits to having a side hustle. Obviously income, but there are other things as well that come with that. And so please reach out to Jennifer. Please, like I said, let us know if you have any questions. And we're going to sign off. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll check in with you soon. All right.
Thanks for
Take care,
having me.
everybody.